What can lift over 42,000 pounds and fly around the world? Many of you may say Superman, but actually I'm here to talk about Hercules. Okay, Hercules wasn't known to fly, but more specifically I'm here to talk about the C-130 Hercules aircraft. For over 60 years now, the C-130 has played a vital role in the United States military. The capabilities of this amazing aircraft have been capitalized and expanded upon longer than any other aircraft in the United States inventory. The C-130 is a true testament to U.S. innovation. Since its conception in the early 50s, the Lockheed C-130 has earned a reputation as a versatile workhorse for the United States military, a reputation that continues to this day. As a career enlisted aviator for the Air Force Special Operations Command over the last 30 years, I've flown numerous variants of the C-130, accumulating more than 5,600 flight hours, while flying 1,900 sorties. These totals include 1,400 combat hours and a little over 500 combat missions, flown in 11 different contingency operations, starting with Operation Just Cause in Panama in December of 1989. My extensive career, I should say relationship, with the C-130 includes 2 years as an aircraft maintenance specialist, 14 years as a flight engineer instructor evaluator, and 14 years as a loadmaster instructor evaluator. First, today I will discuss the history and the evolution of the C-130. Second, I will help you better understand the aircraft by reviewing some of its specifications. Finally, I will discuss some of the variants and the missions that they support in the United States military. Since its conception in the 1950s, the Lockheed has earned a reputation as a versatile workhorse in the United States military. This, as I said before, continues to this day. The story of the C-130 started in 1951 when the aircraft was looking for an aircraft that could handle large cargo, be able to fly slow enough to throw paratroopers out the doors, be able to land on dirt runways and unapproved landing fields, but also, in times of emergencies, be able to fly on one engine. The Lockheed Corporation met these demands with the design of the C-130 that would later be nicknamed the Hercules. Like most aircraft, the C-130 did not come without its challenges. The leader of the Lockheed design team for the C-130 was a gentleman by the name of William Hawkins. When Hal Herbert, the Lockheed president, saw the design from the engineers, he asked Kelly Johnson, who is the world-renowned aircraft engineer that designed the SR-71. When Kelly Johnson looked at it, he stated, "If you sign that letter, you will destroy the Lockheed Corporation." Eventually, both Herbert and Johnson signed the proposal, and the company was awarded the contract for the C-130 on the 2nd of July, 1951. The first flight of the C-130 took place on 23 August 1954. It took off out of the Lockheed plant in Burbank, California. It landed 61 minutes later in Edwards Air Force Base. After the first 2 prototypes concluded their flight testing, production began in Marietta, Georgia, where over 2,400 C-130s have been built and continue to be built to this day. Today, the C-130 is a far cry from the 1954 original design. From an aviator standpoint, comparing today's C-130 to the original would be like comparing a brand new 2015 Ford Mustang to a Model A. They still remain the same shape and size, but numerous improvements have been made inside and outside of the aircraft. Since the original design, the C-130, the original design of the C-130, there's been more than 8 major redesigned versions. Each one of these is designed with an additional character. The first versions were C-130As, followed by C-130Bs, etc., etc. The current version is the C-130J. Each one of these versions came with major improvements. The current C-130J version can carry 32% more payload, has a 77% longer flight range, and has 25% more power than the earlier versions. Now that I've discussed the history in the evolution of the C-130, I'm going to help you better understand the aircraft by reviewing some of its specifications. The strength of the C-130 is its ability to accomplish a wide variety of missions in pretty much any environment. I'll start by giving you some visuals of aircraft and compare them to other aircraft. To help, I'm going to throw in some common vehicles that you see every day on the highway. This aircraft in the background is a C-5 Galaxy. Very large aircraft. It can carry large payloads, but it's not very agile. It would be compared to your common everyday tractor trailer. This aircraft is an F-15 Strike Eagle. It's compact, very agile, but it can only carry very small payloads and they're external. It would be considered like a modern day sports car. This little aircraft in the front here is the C-130 Hercules that I'm talking about. It would be compared to a modern day pickup truck. It has good handling, it's small enough to operate in tight places, and can very easily carry medium-sized loads, and it can also go off-road, which is very important. Transportation of personnel is one of the main functions of the C-130. There are three categories of personnel: passengers, paratroopers, and aeromedical. The C-130 can carry 90 passengers, 64 paratroopers, and 70 litters to include 5 medics. The transportation of cargo has main three types. There's palletized, there's vehicles, and there's airdrops. Palletized cargo is anything that's loaded on a pallet. A standard aircraft pallet is 88 by 108 inches. Each pallet can accommodate 10,000 pounds, and a C-130 can carry 6 of these pallets. Vehicles are driven on and off the cargo floor. Vehicles vary in size, but for the most part, 3 full-size vehicles can be accommodated inside the C-130. Airdrops are loads that are extracted from the aircraft that fall by parachute to a designated landing area. It depends upon the weight and the size of how many we can drop, but we can drop up to a single 42,000 pound road grader or up to 20 smaller separate loads. The aircraft can easily be configured from any one of these, from the personnel to the patients to the paratroopers to the pallets, in about 2 hours, and that's one of the highlights of the aircraft. Performance of the C-130 is highlighted also by its ability to operate anywhere. Whether it's high, low, hot, cold, the C-130 can really meet those needs. The C-130 operates at altitudes up to 40,000 feet, and with special onboard terrain following radars, the C-130 can fly at 250 feet at night in low visibility to avoid enemy detection. The C-130 also regularly operates in areas like the polar ice caps that most aircrafts can't even begin to work at. With its strong landing gear and design and the high-mounted engines, it can also land on runways such as unapproved runways such as sand, dirt, snow without damage. Now that you have a basic understanding of the C-130 and its history, I will talk about some of the popular variants of the C-130. Since its conception of the C-130, the United States military and defense contractors have managed to adapt the aircraft to fulfill numerous roles that were not part of the original design. In other words, we're going to make it customized. We're going to do something like make a monster truck out of it. So basically, they take an aircraft and highly modify it. The C in C-130 stands for cargo. When we take and adapt the aircraft to do something other than what it's originally designed for a variant, we add an additional letter to the beginning. For instance, an AC-130 means that it's an attack version of the C-130. Special variants of aircraft are very expensive. For example, the C-130 coming off the production line is about $49 million. The same aircraft customized into an EC-130 is an additional $61 million for a total of about $210 million. So customization is very expensive. Some of the more customized C-130s are employed by the Air Force Special Operations Command. 3 of these such variants are the EC-130 Commando Solo, depicted here, which is actually an airborne radio and broadcast platform to do psychological operations. The MC-130 Commando II is designed specifically for infill, exfil, and resupply of Special Operations Forces and air refueling of Special Operations helicopters in denied areas. The C-130 or the AC-130J gunship is a ground-to-air attack variant that is outfitted with a variety of cannons ranging from 20 millimeters all the way up to 105 millimeters. All of these cannons shoot out the left-hand side of the aircraft. Some of these are capable of shooting upwards of 2,500 rounds per minute. Yes, that's about 41 rounds a second. Those guns are depicted here, here, and here. Some other variants of the C-130 are the LC-130, which are designed for Arctic exploration. They're designed to have skis on the bottom. The JC-130 is designed to actually, back in the Corona reconnaissance days, snatch satellites, back in the 60s, snatch satellites right out of the sky as they're falling down. So the aircraft would actually fly by and grab a satellite and pull it in the back of the aircraft. Pretty crazy. The other very common variant is the WC-130, which is the Hurricane Hunters you may have heard of. They actually take the plane and fly it into the center of the eye of a hurricane to get data. Just to review the main points, first I discussed the history and the evolution of the C-130. Second, I provided you with an understanding of the aircraft by reviewing some of its specifications. And finally, I discussed some of the variants and the missions that they fly within the United States military. Since its conception in the early 50s, the C-130 has earned a reputation as a valuable workhorse for the United States military, a reputation that continues to this day, a reputation that is longer than any other military aircraft. In closing, I hope I sparked your interest today. If you have more desire to see more about the C-130, there is copious amounts of information on the internet. Thank you and have a good day.